This week on the Analog Circle podcast, the Nintendo Switch 2's alleged reveal date and the graphical power of the upcoming console. Oh, we gotta discuss this. We find out from the executive producer of The Witcher 4 how big the size of the map on this game will be. Insider Jez Gordon says Xbox exclusives are over and explains why some games won't be day and date on other platforms. And his explanation was extremely interesting to me. And we get word from a developer that has developed a game for both PC and PS5 and gives us a graphics comparison between the two. All of these stories once again can be found here in episode 136 of the Analog Circle podcast. I am your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and welcome to the show. Welcome. Come on in, sit down, relax yourself, get yourself a drink. And if you're not at home, if you're out traveling, then hopefully we can accompany you to your destination. Now, as always, I truly enjoy and love hearing from you, great listeners out there. And if you do want to be a part of the next episode of Listener Feedback, you can do it 2 different ways. Matter of fact, shout out to you, Cody Clark. I got a few emails of yours that I will be reading on this episode. But if you would like to join good brother Cody Clark in the conversation, you can do it 2 different ways. You can either call in at 443-380-0281 and let your voice be heard, or you can email the show, and the email address is simply the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. Now, before we get started into the episode, most definitely, I will say this, the last episode of 2024. This is it. We're a couple of days away from Christmas. Man, let me tell you something. You already see the title of the episode. We're going to get into that a little bit later. But before we officially get started, I got to ask you guys, have you seen the new trailer of the Exodus? That was a game that was shown a couple of months ago. They only showed the trailer. No gameplay was shown in the first trailer. But this trailer right here, God dog, if you have not seen this trailer, I recommend you check it out. But if you haven't seen it, we might not be able to see it together, but we could at least tune in and listen to it. So let me play this trailer for you guys, and we'll come back right after this.
Preparing to transfer now. This is your last chance to bail, June.
Do it. Weapon is a hell of a way to greet your new partner.
So you're June.
We're burning time. Now that we're all best of friends, let's make each other rich.
I'm not just here to look pretty. I've got away with celestial tech.
I see a lot of potential in this new partnership.
Let me light the way for you.
Target acquired.
Many thanks again for your help.
You should have been honest.
This place is forbidden. The price is death.
That's what it means to be a traveler.
Exodus. Golly! This game looks incredible! Oh! Absolutely amazing. If you are a Mass Effect fan, even in a little bit of a capacity, a Mass Effect fan, this game should speak to your gaming soul. I saw the way he was shooting a gun and that doggone enemy exploded into 1,000 different pieces. Oh! Man, brothers and sisters, I highly recommend, once again, if you are a Mass Effect fan, golly, these guys got something on their hands. They have something that could be very, very special on their hands. And I understand that Mass Effect, the new Mass Effect is being worked on. It's coming eventually. We don't know when. But I will say, if you can't wait for another Mass Effect, an official Mass Effect, and you have been fiending to get your hands on something to give you that Mass Effect feel, I'm telling you, Exodus looks like it could be the answer. Of course, I'm not saying that they're going to do it better than the originators. I'm not saying that they'll be able to do it like BioWare, but whatever they're working on right now, man, brother, let me tell you, the story seems interesting. Sound like somebody got betrayed. They're in a place that they're not supposed to be in. It's forbidden. Stuff looks like it's really happening all around these guys. And I'm going to tell you, I will be there for this one. Highly recommend that you guys check out that trailer. But anyway, with that being said, though, I do believe it is time to get into what we all come here for, and that is the gaming news that went down. Matter of fact, God dog it, I got to do this one more time because it was a proud moment here in Baltimore yesterday. Shout out to the Ravens for beating the Steelers. God dog it. Oh, yesterday was an amazing day. Absolutely incredible. We haven't beat those mother lovers like that in a half a decade. We have lost almost every game. We lost, 8 out of the 9. Lamar was 1-4. Those numbers were slightly skewed, but nonetheless, the record is what it is. It was 1-4. He was 1-4. He got out there, man. We beat him by 17 points. 17 points. Doggone Russell thought he was going to run down the field. He got yanked. Doggone Joker did a somersault in the air and lost the ball. Anyway, this isn't sports talk. We're going to go ahead. We're going to get into this gaming news, man. So let's get things started this week with a story. Man, I'm so excited to be back with y'all. I said that I was done for the year. That day, I'm going to tell you something. Again, if you guys want to keep up to date with what's going on, you can definitely join the Facebook group, to go over there. Brother, man, Lawrence Jones. Golly, I got to shout that good brother out. Shout out to Lawrence Jones out there in the group, brother, in the Facebook group for the Analog Circle. Go over there, join. We would love to have you. That's where you can keep up with things that are going on. Like if I'm not going to be able to record, that day or the Wednesday that I usually record these episodes on, you can always go in there to just double check to make sure I'm doing it. I didn't have a chance to do it when I was originally supposed to do it on Wednesday. So I figured that, I'll just stay away for the rest of the year, start fresh, in 2025. But I'm like, nah, man, I can't stay away that long. I just can't do it. I found the opportunity. It is 1:18 a.m. in the morning on Monday. I had a chance. I'm off of work for a little bit of time. So I was able to capitalize and, use my time to be able to do this. So with that being said, now let's get into the gaming news that went down. All right. So this first story comes from, of course, the source is God is a Geek. That's where I got this story from. So let's start things off with Namco. Now, on January 13th, 2025, over on Twitch at 9 p.m. UK time, Namco has announced they will be revealing a new RPG project titled Dawn Walker, being developed by Rebel Wolves. Now, the presentation will be, they're saying, roughly around 45 minutes long, and the game is being developed in Unreal Engine 5. Oh, I'm such a sucker for that doggone engine. Shout out to you though, Cody. But, and it will release, these are the platforms it's going to come out on. It's going to be released on Xbox, PS5, and PC. Now, the press release describes the game as a dark fantasy narrative sandbox action RPG. Sounds like something I might be able to get behind, as long as they are not trying to be Demon Souls or Dark Souls like or esque. I can always get behind something like that, especially with the sandbox action RPG. Now, I'm not the biggest RPG fan. That turn-based RPG status, woo, man, brother, count me out. Not going to be able to be doing that turn-based stuff. But if you got it like the new Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth and all of that, if you're on those terms with the RPG status, then I can definitely rock with you on that one. But outside of that, I ain't going to be able to do it. But again, if you guys are interested, again, the date is January 13th, 2025. Doggone, we are just a couple of days away. Well, what time is that in the United States time? Let me see. Hold on, let's look this up so we can get that on track real quick. See what time that is here in the States. What is the time difference between the U.S. and the UK? All right, we are, okay, like I said, it's 1:21 here, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so they are 5 hours ahead of us. So that means this is going to be like, what, 8, 7, 6, 5? God, dog. Well, it's PM, so we're talking about 4 p.m. Okay, well, that's not bad. You can check this out again on Twitch, January 13th at 4 p.m. to check out what Namco is cooking up next. Again, the name of the game is called Dawn Walker. Very, very interesting title. Well, yeah, it sounds like a very interesting title. But let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's get into the next story that I got from Games Radar. So, one of the big, oh man, we got to talk about this too, but one of the bigger surprises at the Game Awards was The Witcher 4, where we were shown a cinematic trailer. Now, CD Projekt Red Dev, he had actually commented about the trailer by saying this. He said, quote, "The cinematic trailer could still serve as a first look at the game. The trailer is pre-rendered in our own custom build of the engine using assets and models from the game itself. As such, it represents a look that we're targeting. This is a showcase of what this tech can do to bring out the style, atmosphere, and overall feel that we want The Witcher 4 to have." End of quote. Now, the developer continued by saying, and I quote, "It is not rendered in real time, but it is powered by the same tech that The Witcher 4 is being built on, which is Unreal Engine 5. End of quote. Now, I will say, just on a side note, just a sidebar, Cody Clark was telling me this now. Now, it is starting to seem a little, it's starting to sound a little true. But Cody Clark, he was telling me in one of his emails, this was a little while ago, not that far ago, but a couple of weeks ago, I would say, he was saying that one of the fears, was, if so many people are just using Unreal Engine 5, one, that kind of gives Unreal Engine somewhat of a monopoly, even though there are other engines out there, but it gives them a bit of a monopoly if everybody is going to them to develop their game on their engine. And the second thing that Cody was talking about was it's going to make all of our games start to look the same. All of the games are going to have kind of like that feel or that look to them. And it'll be a little harder to get any games that actually look original, compared to each other. So hearing this, so many developers, so many AAA developers are switching to Unreal Engine 5. I mean, even the Halo devs are switching to Unreal Engine 5. So with so many getting on one engine, I can see where that could be a negative effect, to a certain degree as far as originality goes. I can't talk worth a darn this morning, but I can tell that, if somebody or a group of people are all using the same tools, it's not going to be a lot of distinction there. So that could definitely be a fear. I mean, for right now, I don't see it happening, at least at the moment, but it is definitely a possibility that it could happen in the future if everybody is using the same engine. But I digress. But with that being said, though, Unreal Engine 5 is being used by CD Projekt Red, which are making The Witcher 4. Now, of course, like they said, it was a cinematic trailer. It wasn't in real time. It was pre-rendered. But the dev did say that this could serve as a bit of a first look at the game, because that is the bar. That is basically what they're trying to make the game become. Now, will they be able to set that kind of bar with graphics and have that kind of presentation in the game running in real time? I don't know. That's a lofty goal. But I will say that, we do live in a time when we have a game like Horizon Forbidden West and Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, where they do exist on real hardware. Both of those games, beautiful looking games. We got Black Myth Wukong out there that's looking great. Oh man, did y'all see Black Myth Wukong's developer get out there and show his whole rear end? Talking about, man, we should have won. This is a travesty. Astrobot should have never got the award. I got dressed up to give this speech that I wrote back when I was 8 years old, and y'all ain't gonna let me on the stage? Are y'all crazy? Oh, that joker went off. I said, man, this joker is too entitled.
Boo this man!
Way too entitled. Who are you, brother? You the first time out the gate. Your first project. You got doggone elected as, nominated for Game of the Year, your first AAA game out the gate. Man, game science, brother, if you don't sit down and just take your win. I think they won some kind of award. Let me check to see what awards Black Myth Wukong got. Now, I got a feeling we're going to be here for a while, man. It's the last show of the year, man. I don't want to short y'all with a 45-minute show, an hour show. I want to spend some time with y'all, because this is going to be our last time with each other in 2024. So let's just make it last a little while. Let's see. Here we go. What awards did Black Myth Wukong win?
Player's Voice Award for Game Science in 2024 and the Game Award for Best Action Game for Game Science in 2024.
Man, if y'all don't sit down and take a darn seat, these jokers got 2 awards. They got the award for Player's Voice Award this year, and they got the award for Best Action Game. Man, what more do you want? Here it is. You've won. You're a sore winner. That's what you are, Game Science. You're a darn sore winner. You got 2 awards out the gate. First game, the first AAA game that y'all made. 2 of them out the gate, and you crying. This dude is up here crying, man. What are you crying for? This is you. That Joker crying like they ain't recognize you this year. Man, you better sit down somewhere. Anyway, getting back to The Witcher 4, it ain't much more to say about The Witcher 4 story. Look, that's what they're aiming for. Are they going to make it happen? I don't know. I hope so. CD Projekt Red are awesome at their craft. But to achieve those kind of graphics the Siri had going on with the powers and wrapping the chain around that thing's neck and whatnot, I don't know about that. I mean, we'll definitely see what happens. I mean, would I be happy with that? Absolutely. I would be astounded. I would be astounding if they could do that. Will they be able to do it? Oh, that's a whole nother story. I don't think so. I don't think they're going to get that. I mean, they're a bad mother-loving studio, but I don't know if they that darn good. Shoot, that Joker might have to be on PS6 or something like that. Man, speaking of that, oh, man, we're going to be all over the place this episode. So much information has come out this week. I'm going to just be jumping. But did y'all hear Mark Cerny coming out there? Man, he gave his dissertation, didn't he? Oh, man, that Joker went out there. What'd he say? The PlayStation 5 Pro was equivalent to what, 16 teraflops or something like that. Matter of fact, shoot, man, I'm going to be looking up some stuff today. How many teraflops is the PlayStation 5 Pro? 16.7. Yeah, they were talking about 30-something teraflops. He was breaking down all kinds of stuff, kind of just debunking certain things that happened. Now, I did listen to what Mark Cerny was talking about. Now, was I able to keep up with that, brother, as far as the things he was saying? No, I wasn't. Matter of fact, I gotta be honest with you. I didn't finish listening to the whole 40-something plus minute dissertation that the brother gave. It was very interesting, but it didn't hold my attention. It just didn't, but that was a interesting situation that happened earlier this week, or was that last week? No, that was this week. No, last week. That was very, very interesting. Anyway, though, man, look, I'm rambling just a little too much even for myself. So with that being said, let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's get into the next story that I actually got from Dual Shockers. So another title, and I got to say, this Joker blew my wig completely back, that was at the Game Awards, was Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, being developed by Naughty Dog. God, man, shucks, man. I saw that joke. I said, whoa. Oh, I like it. I like the look of it. Golly. But I will say, man, since the trailer's debut, we've got a few small details. Nothing to get super excited about. I don't want to oversell it. But we did get a few small details about the title from Neil Druckmann, who revealed that the narrative will center on Jordan, who is the game's main protagonist. She's the one with the bald head. It's going to focus on her, who is the main protagonist, in her survival to conquer the isolated planet of Semperia. And now she will have to endure intense combat set against the backdrop of advanced technology to become the first to escape in 600 years. God dog. Man, what kind of planet or galaxy is this? This thing is like the black hole. Nobody has escaped out of this joker in 600 years, and she got to be the first. Oh, man, good luck. Now, Neil also pointed out that the game is anime inspired by Akira and Cowboy Bebop. Now, I guess, now I'm not too familiar with Cowboy, but I do understand Akira, and I'm sure that that's probably where she got that red jacket from. Man, how many of y'all have seen the legendary anime that probably got a lot of us in my generation into anime itself? How many of y'all have seen Akira? Let me tell you something, man. When I saw that joint, when I was probably about 13, I couldn't have been no more than 14 years old. I was so blown away when I saw blood in a cartoon. I said, man, I mean, it was a little bit of adult content in that movie right there. I don't want to get too, X'd up in here. I mean, we are a family-friendly show. So I won't say too much, but y'all know it was a scene. If you saw the movie, man, it got a little dicey up in there. But Akira was amazing. Fantastic anime, man. The bike scenes when they were going through the city, that joint was electric. But getting back to the story, though, getting back to the game. Now, as far as gameplay goes, Neil said that they're aiming to create a unique sci-fi experience that incorporates themes of religion. Now, this is the quote. He said, "It revolves around what happens when you put your faith in different institutions." End of quote. Now, we also described the gameplay as the quote, deepest gameplay in Naughty Dog's history, end of quote. Now, I can understand this. This is something that most people say. I mean, we hear artists say it all the time. This is my best album ever. I did my best writing on this album. I really went into a place that I'd never been in with any of my previous projects. I just really went to a whole nother place. I mean, it has to be expected. Some of the time you be like, nah, this is actually a step back from what you did previously. So when I hear these developers, and as great as I do think Naughty Dog and Neil Druckmann are, and I'm going to tell you, I was the biggest fan of The Last of Us Part 2, my game of the generation. And I say it all the time. I say it proudly. So this is coming from a real Naughty Dog fan who has every Uncharted that has ever been made. Can't say the same thing for Crash Bandicoot, and I darn sure can't say the same thing for Jak and Daxter. But, and I can say I have every Last of Us that has ever been made. Now, granted, it's only 2.25 of them if you're counting the DLC. But I'm a huge fan of Naughty Dog. But by Neil Druckmann saying that this is the deepest gameplay in Naughty Dog's history, I expect that. That's just an expected answer, for them to say. I mean, this is a new project. They've learned a lot between The Last of Us and also Uncharted, as well as their previous works, Jak and Daxter, Crash Bandicoot also being on that list. They've learned a lot. So for him to say that, that's just part of the course. Of course, we got to wait to see what happens when the game is in our hands. And that's another thing. This game was getting a lot of hate. God, dog. I mean, it seemed like it was getting so much hate. I believe that at one point in time for the YouTube video, they actually cut comments off. Naughty Dog said, enough is enough. We ain't got to take this. And they just cut off all comments. Now, me, I don't get this new agenda that's going on where women characters or women being in games is somehow a bad thing or is pushing a certain agenda. I don't know. And maybe it's maybe it's an age gap. I mean, I'm 45, I've been gaming since I was 6. This stuff doesn't bother me. It doesn't really matter to me. I want to play a dope game at the end of the day. I could care less what kind of character it is. I'm not going to condemn a game because it's a female character. It just, I don't know, man. I'm just more interested in what the story is going to be. Is the game fun? Does the game look great? Is it pushing, technology forward as far as gaming goes? Is it doing anything different? That's what I'm more interested in. So I can never get behind this this woke culture that they say is in gaming right now. Man, I'd be baffled. I mean, dead serious. I'd be straight up baffled by some of the things that people say. Star Wars Outlaws got a lot of hate. I love the heck out of that game. Spent 40 plus hours in it and enjoyed every last minute. Well, hold on. Maybe not every last minute. I will say those fixes to the game definitely added a little bit more joy. I will say that. So let me not say the whole game, but overall, that game was a solid 8 out of 10 for me. I loved it. So female characters never bother me in games. I've been doing it since Tomb Raider. Even in Super Mario Brothers 2 on the original Nintendo, you had Princess Peach that you could play as. She was floating and all that stuff. It was a fun game. So I don't get it, man. I don't get all of the hate. Maybe y'all can explain it to me. Like I said, I'm 45. I'm quite a bit older. And, I just don't really trip on this stuff. But if y'all can let me know what the agenda or so-called agenda or woke culture is with this, I would love to know what it, to know what it is. But, yeah, people are mad at the game already and they haven't even seen anything yet. So I would just say, man, I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm just going to say, for me, I'll be holding off to see what the game is actually going to be before I condemn it. But a first trailer, I was hype. I was mad excited about this one. Very excited. But anyway, we'll see what happens with the intergalactic joint. We'll see what happens. I think Neil Druckmann got another one on his hands. I'm going to say that. Naughty Dog, they haven't dropped the ball yet. And I don't expect them to drop the ball on this. I know some people thought they dropped the ball in The Last of Us Part 2, but I was absolutely not one of those. But let's go ahead, guys, and let's get into the next story that I actually got. Well, matter of fact, hold on now. Before I get to that story, we were just talking about the Game Awards. Now, speaking of the Game Awards, the lead up to the Game Awards, a lot of us thought that GTA 6 would have possibly been there, that they would have had a new trailer there. They would have been making an appearance at the event some kind of way. I mean, a lot of us were like, I don't think that's going to happen. Me, I didn't think it was going to happen, but I was very, very skeptical. I was like, maybe they could be there and it would just be the most amazing thing ever. But it sadly, it didn't happen. But during an interview conducted by YouTuber Connor Matthew, CEO of Take-Two, Strauss Zelnick, had a few words that he used to describe GTA 6. This is what he said.
You're not afraid to wait and sort of perfect a game before.
No, not only we're not afraid of it. You guys
don't push deadlines.
That's what we do. We wait for a title to be ready, and sometimes the audience can get a little frustrated. It takes a while.
Yeah, because obviously you can't speak too much on GTA 6. There's only so much you can say. But if you could sum it up in a few words or one word, what would you say?
I think it'll be extraordinary and worth waiting for.
But is there something that excites you most about GTA 6?
Just what I said earlier. I think it'll be breathtaking.
Yeah. Yep.
Our teams are focused on what's new that you haven't even thought about. Like, you thought you were anticipating this thing, but this is way bigger and way better and more exciting and more beautiful than you could have possibly thought of.
Man, that Joker said a lot of promising things, but again, shout out to Connor Matthew for the interview. It was fantastic information. Even though he didn't get a lot of information, he did get Strauss Zelnick to say a couple of things. It's going to be worth the wait. You think you're getting this, but you're actually getting that. Pretty much saying that they're really working on it pretty heavy. I think right now they're up to about a 6, almost 7-year dev cycle when it comes to GTA 6. I believe this is the alleged budget of the game is at somewhere between $2 to $3.5 billion that is being spent, which sounds absolutely, man, I don't even know what to say. That just sounds unrealistic. They're putting $2 billion to $3.5 billion into this game. Now, we know this game is going to be huge. Like he said, he understands that, they work on the games until they're done. It frustrates the fan base. He understands that. Another clip, he said he really appreciates the fan base, though he loves that we get excited about the game, but we just unfortunately have to wait. But he feels like it's going to be worth it in the long run. So we'll see what happens with this. The other thing that I wanted to mention when it comes to GTA 6. It was a little bit more information that came out from a former GTA developer named Obey Vermeij. His name is spelled Obbe. His last name is spelled Vermeij. Now, he said on Twitter, quote, because this actually was pertaining to GTA 6 possibly being delayed. But he said, quote, Rockstar is probably not in a position to determine whether they will hit 2025 until May-ish, end of quote. So he's basically saying that, yeah, we understand that we've heard these rumors circulating that GTA 6 will fall into 2026. It's not going to happen this year in 25. I mean, next year, in 25. So we'll be waiting an extra year. But he's saying, don't listen to that just yet, because if it is going to be a delay, then wait for Rockstar to say something in May of 2025 if it's going to be delayed. So that also gives a bit of a timeline if this ex-developer is speaking the truth, if he knows what he's talking about. That would mean that we would not be expecting the game anywhere before bare minimum spring or summer of 2025, if that timeline is true, if not further, but we will find out something according to this ex-developer. Again, his name, if you want to look him up, is Obey Vermeij. I spelled it already, but if you want to check him out, go over on Twitter and see about him. But we'll see what happens with this. It's very, very interesting. GTA 6 is one of those games that the world is truly, truly waiting for. I would not doubt that it'll probably make that money back, whatever the investment is. I don't know if it's $2 billion. That's a lot of darn money, $2 to $3.5 billion. I don't know about that, but I can say that I guarantee pretty much whatever they spent on the game, they're going to get it back 10 times over. I mean, the last time I checked GTA 5, it sold over 100 million copies. I don't know about 100 million. That might be a little too much. Let me see. How many copies has GTA 5 sold?
205 million units.
Oh, shucks.
According to Statista, as of November 2024, Grand Theft Auto 5 has sold over 205 million units worldwide. Published and developed by Rockstar Games and first released in 2013, GTA 5 is one of the best-selling video games of all time.
205 million copies. Darn. Yeah, they ain't gonna have no trouble. Nah, they gonna get that money back times 10. God darn it. Yeah, we'll see, man. But anyway, I've long-winded that one enough. Let's go ahead, guys, and let's get into the next story. Now, y'all remember last week, well, it was the week before last now, but it was the possibility of red lines. This was on the last episode of the podcast. We were talking about the red lines being a thing where we thought that there was going to be some games that were going to fall within that red line and they wouldn't be going over to other platforms. We were talking about that last week. Well, man, just like I told you, in Xbox fashion, or I should say, I'm not even going to blame Xbox. I'll say this. According to Insider, and he's a pretty good insider too. He's an Xbox insider, Jez Gordon. He said, quote, he said, quote, era of Xbox having permanent console exclusives is over, end of quote. Now, Jez even hinted at why some games won't be day and date, where he said, and I quote, they don't want to just mandate it on teams that aren't set up for multi-platform simultaneous development, end of quote. So basically, all right, let's kind of unpack this a little bit, little by little. So last week, it was a report that came out that Xbox were going to have red lines. Certain titles would not be going to other platforms. Now, we had heard a couple of weeks prior to that the CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, he came out and said that there wouldn't be any red lines. We had also heard Phil Spencer say more games are coming to other platforms. So it was always a situation of their games going somewhere else outside of Xbox. We heard Phil Spencer also say that they were just starting with the 4 games first coming to PlayStation. Everybody knew once they opened up the door, that situation was over. It was no going back to the way that it used to be. But some kind of way, a report came out again that said that those red lines were still going to be there. Well, this week, according to, like I said, Xbox insider Jez Gordon, he said, quote, again, I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm just trying to bring it all together. He said, quote, era of Xbox having permanent console exclusives is over, end of quote. Now, of course, we all were under that impression. And like when I was reading the report last week, I said, this is what Microsoft does. They have you going up one moment, then you're crashing back down because of the news not matching up every single week. It seems like it's something different. They don't keep the same narrative for a long enough period of time to start to believe in their brand. They switch it up. And that's exactly what happened. Yet again, even though this time I don't blame Phil Spencer, I don't blame Xbox at all. These rumors and things that I report on and that are being reported on online, they're just they're not real until they're real. You know, that's why I always say, take this stuff with a mustard seed of truth, you know, until we get word that it's actually true. So again, this is where they're going. This is their future. And like Jez Gordon said, they don't want to mandate it on teams that aren't set up for multi-platform simultaneous development, end of quote. That is the only reason why a Gears of War won't be on PlayStation Day and Date, why Halo won't be on PlayStation Day and Date, why a Fable won't be there, South of Midnight, any of these games. That is the only reason that teams can't handle the dual development. And because of that, that can be a good thing, because at least we do know that there's still, even though it's not going to be a permanent exclusive, you will have a window where some of these games that do come out on Xbox won't be on PlayStation for possibly 9 months, maybe a year, maybe 18 months. It just depends. It'll probably almost end up being, in certain cases, not all, because we see Indiana Jones or those guys over at Bethesda, they're built for this. This is what they've been doing their whole career. They've been making games for all platforms. So I would say with their games, it'll probably be a very fast turnaround. I mean, we're seeing it with Indiana Jones coming out in spring of 2025 when they just released in the winter of 2024. So we're talking about what, like a 5-month period, somewhere around there, 4 or 5 months, and it'll be on the PlayStation. But something like somebody like I don't know, who can I use? The Fable team, which I forget their name. Golly, I know they do Forza Horizon. But yeah, let's just say those guys. Maybe they're not as equipped, you know, as Bethesda to do it. Maybe the Coalition can't do it that fast, you know. But again, that is the only thing stopping Day and Date from all Xbox titles. Again, if what Jez Gordon is saying is true, and this guy actually has it's not a perfect track record. Nobody has a perfect track record, but he has actually had conversations with people inside of Microsoft. So I can kind of believe Jez. He seems like a pretty straight shooter when it comes to the things that he talks about. He seems pretty genuine. So I kind of believe him. But again, the word has already come out, man. It ain't no red lines. It is none. I got to ask y'all, this ain't even the question of the week, but doggone, just as a bonus question, because this kind of bothers me. Do y'all see any value in the Xbox brand? Do you see value? Because for me, it is always about the games. It's always about your exclusives. What games do you have on your platform that I can only get on your platform? And right now, Xbox is not doing it. Their future looks horrendous right now. I understand Game Pass is a thing. I get that. But if you could get one console and you could get PlayStation games and Xbox games on that same console, would you just go out and get a PlayStation, or would you still want to stick with Xbox? Is Game Pass that powerful of a tool that it would keep you on that platform and say, darn, getting a PlayStation, I can play all of these exclusives, on Xbox for $20 a month. Is that enough? Because for me, that darn sure ain't. I had a glimmer of hope. Man, I tell you, I had a darn glimmer of hope. Mike J, you know I did, brother. I was like, man, that show, again, and I ain't even going to get long-winded. I'm not going to get long-winded, but that show, that Xbox show was so darn amazing that even if I didn't want an Xbox at that moment in time, seeing all of those games coming out, oh my gosh, I promise you, I would have had an Xbox. It wasn't until Phil Spencer said that other games are coming. Doom is going to be there, the Dark Ages, day and date. I said, darn, why are you doing this? But this is their path. I don't see the value in Xbox right now. I just don't see it. I'm angry with them. I'm mad that they gave up and they were at the finish line. They finally got games, man. Indiana Jones, people said it could have been up for Game of the Year if it came out earlier. When have we heard that about an Xbox game? We haven't heard about that since Psycho Mantis, doggone Psychonauts 2 was the last game that they had. And that game, unfortunately, didn't win anything. Now, granted, Senua Saga won a couple things this year. That's dope. But, man, where is the ring? When are you going to get a championship ring? That's the game of the year. That's when you get the ring. They haven't had one of those, and I can't even count when the last time was that they won. Matter of fact, shoot. Hold on, man. Hold on. Wait a second. Hold on. We going to find out together. When was the last time Xbox won Game of the Year? Let me see. The last Game of the Year winner for Xbox was Psychonauts 2 won Game of the Year. I ain't win no darn Game of the Year. It Takes Two won that year, didn't it? Man, hold on. Wait. Hold up. What game won Game of the Year for Xbox? That ain't even Xbox. They talking about Astro. But man, darn this. I ain't going to find it. Never mind. Somebody tell me what the last game was that Xbox won. It's been so long, Google can't even tell me what their game was that they won Game of the Year. Hey, doggone, talking about Astrobot. And Psychonauts won Game of the Year. Hey, lying. God darn. Anyway, man, let's move on to the next topic here. that let me see, that I actually got I got this one from Comic Book. Now we have some more Nintendo Switch 2 rumors. Now this latest rumor comes from an anonymous source. Matter of fact, hold on, man. We going down Rumor Boulevard.
Rumor has it is something that only I know.
Now this latest rumor comes from an anonymous source on the Nintendo Switch Reddit page. However, the source has been verified by the mods on the page, who say the leaker does have evidence of these claims behind the scenes. So the leaker claims the console will have, man, I'm all tongue-tied, the console will have 2 different color schemes to choose from at launch, plus a game-related theme. Now, the 2 colors are gray with black buttons, and the other will be a white option as far as the theme. No, it'll be a white option. I guess pretty much what they got out there right now. And I don't know, this seemed dicey already with this rumor. But as far as the theme console was concerned, that could be for the rumored 3D Mario game or possibly Mario Kart 9. Now, it was also a rumor that a Nintendo Switch 2 reveal event is happening in January, according to Nintendo-focused YouTuber Nintentalk, who claims a third-party developer has indicated that's when Nintendo will be revealing the Switch 2. Now, do you believe this? Now, I got to say, this color scheme, that seems like low-hanging fruit. I mean, already, these are pretty much the same colors that the Switch 1 already comes in. So for him to say that it's going to be multicolored, that's not a stretch. But again, I mean, I kind of do tend to believe that. I don't think that's too much of a stretch. But the thing I will say, the second thing, when it comes to that third console being an actual themed console, whether it's going to be the new Mario, the new 3D Mario, or a Mario Kart 9 themed console, that would actually be pretty dope. I believe that could be the case. They would be celebrating the Switch releasing along with a new Mario game or with a Mario Kart game. I think that would be pretty dope if they were to do that. We'll definitely have to see. But the thing about it is this reveal event actually happening in January. And this is according to, again, a third party, I gotta say, allegedly, a third party developer who's indicating that this is when Nintendo will be revealing the Switch 2. I will say, man, listen, January, if I'm not mistaken, when did they actually reveal the original Switch? Because I feel like it was cold outside. Let's see when they did that. What month was the original Switch revealed? Okay, it says Nintendo unveiled the original Nintendo Switch on October 20th, 2016. Of course, we know the Switch was released on March 3rd, 2017. So we're talking October, November, December, January, February, March. So pretty much 5 months after they had already revealed it released. So if you're talking about January is the time that they're going to be revealing this, just going off of history, maybe, and this may somewhat as a timeline add up, because if you listen last week, so okay, let's say, okay, January, they reveal it. We got to wait 5 months. That'll take us into February, March, April, May, June. That'll be the summertime. So it was a report last week, if you guys remember, where they were saying, not they, but it was an article that brought up that another insider had got inside information that was the month in the summer they were going to be releasing like 2 or 3 big titles or 2 or 3 games that were going to be releasing for the Switch. So if that's the case, then January might not be too far-fetched. If we're just going off of previous timelines, it taking them 5 months to actually release the console back then, the original Switch. If they are doing it 5 months, we're in June. That's summertime, which, again, adds up with what the developers or one developer was previously talking about, saying that the game was going to release. It was several games that were going to release in the summertime. So that would be interesting. Would Nintendo actually release a console in the summer? Like I said, I think the Sega Saturn was the only console that released in the summertime that I know of. I don't think anybody else did it. In the Saturn, man, it failed abysmally. I remember going to EB. It wasn't even EB back then. They just called it Electronic Boutique back then in Security Square Mall. I remember going in there and seeing it show up just out of nowhere. I was excited because it was Sega. But then when I started reading them game magazines, I read a couple of game magazines. I said, oh, nah, PlayStation is way better, much better. Even though I will say Sega Saturn did 2D fighting games a lot better than PlayStation. That Marvel vs. Capcom was really, really good on Sega Saturn. It probably came out on PlayStation. I can't quite remember, but I remember just playing the Sega Saturn version. Never played the PlayStation version. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Possibly June. We'll see what happens with this. But that's not the only story about the Switch that is being rumored. And this next one really gets me excited. Now, the rumors also went into the power of the console when it comes to the games, stating, quote, get ready to play modern AAA offerings on your Nintendo system in 2025. End of quote. Now, that right there, we got to talk about this, man. We got to talk about this just for a minute. Could you imagine at the price points? Look, again, all of this stuff is rumors. I'm not trying to get anybody excited, even though I am genuinely excited about this stuff. I'm not trying to give out false hope. I can only tell you guys what I'm finding. But I will say, we found out that the price was rumored to be between $400 and $500. We heard that. That was last week as well, I believe. That's the rumored price tag. I was saying then in that episode, is Nintendo crazy enough to actually make their console that expensive and not have the same power as the PlayStation 5 or the Series X? I even went as far as to say the Series S. Would they have enough power to even compare to those consoles? Because at these prices, you're talking about a PlayStation 5 right now. $400 to $500, you're talking about a Xbox Series X right now. Bare minimum, a Series S. Now, I thought that at that time, my reasoning was, well, we do at least believe that it's going to be a handheld. And with it being a handheld, even if it's not up to snuff with the PlayStation 5 and the Series X, because it's a handheld and it's trying to do something graphically, even somewhat graphically demanding, as far as it being a handheld, it's just going to cost more money. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to perform the same as a PlayStation 5 or Series X, but because it's handheld, that stuff costs, man. That handheld technology is mad expensive. But now we're getting this report that says, again, quote, get ready to play modern AAA offerings on your Nintendo system in 2025, end of quote. Now it's got me thinking, could they really actually be throwing their hat in the ring to compete with Sony and Microsoft head to head? Because like I said in that last episode, they've been ducking the fade for years. They have been ducking, fighting PlayStation head on for years, as well as Xbox. They found a niche. They stayed on their side of the street, and they weren't going over there with those bad guys, you know, with Sony, who roughed them up back in the GameCube days. They wasn't going over there with Xbox, you know, when they beat them up in the GameCube days as well. They said, I'm going to leave those good gentlemen alone right there. Asked, do you want some trouble? He said, no. That was Nintendo. They ain't want no trouble no more. They walked away. But now I got to say, oh, man, and shout out to Nintendo for actually breaking a record here in the U.S. They are now the best-selling console of all time in the U.S. of A. God damn! Are they feeling themselves right now? PlayStation 2 held that record for a long time. I got to figure out what the exact numbers were of that. Hold on. How many Switches sold in the USA? Let's see. As of November 2024, the Nintendo Switch has sold 46.6 million units. In the United States, it says the Switch has sold more units in the U.S. than the PlayStation 2, making it the second best-selling console in U.S. history. My bad. I gotta say it was number 2. Excuse me. It says the only console that has sold more units in the U.S. is the Nintendo DS. So they still won. They came second only to themselves. So you got Nintendo coming off of this generation. Man, you know that, man. The shoulder's back. The chest is out. They feeling themselves. They beat PlayStation here in the States as far as the units sold. I could see Nintendo possibly feeling like, man, I think now we got ourselves in a position where we actually can go out there and we can actually compete with these guys. I mean, we were very successful with the Switch. The Switch 2 is coming. People are excited about it. We've outsold them here in the U.S. Who's going to stop us? Xbox got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. We basically just got to worry about PlayStation right now. I could see them maybe, I'll say this, if they were going to go for the Power Crown, and I don't mean like having the most power. I just mean being up to date with their games and their console. I think that this would be the generation for them to do it because they have an unbelievable amount of positive, and I do mean very positive momentum. Even a person like me who has a Switch, the Switch, even for me, even though I don't play it that much, I ain't going to sit up here and act like I'm on it every day. I'm not even on that thing every month, to be fair. But I can say one thing about the Switch, though. They have games. That console has some bangers. I will say that. I mean, they got some heat over there on the Switch, and their output of games, man, never a drought. This was not a Wii U situation at all. They learned from that console generation, and we never got a drought on the Switch. They even gave me Metroid 2D Metroid. Darn that Prime stuff in 3D. You can keep that, mother lover, but they gave me Metroid, the side scroller. That man, they couldn't do no wrong this generation. Those jokers was amazing. So having that kind of goodwill built up, having and knowing that you have outsold your competition in the United States, you know, knowing that now you can get your games out in a quick rhythm, a much faster rhythm than you were in the Wii U days, man, that does nothing but build your confidence. So if they were to do it, and if it was to be true, I could see this generation being the one that they would try to strike in. We'll see what happens with this, though. But let's go ahead, guys, and let's get into the next story that I actually got from WCCF Tech. Now, I know for some, the PS5 Pro isn't worth the money. That's what some people say. You are crazy if you think I'm spending $700 on the PlayStation 5 Pro. It is not worth it. Now, Sony is asking for, and other people, no, hold on. No, I just said that all dead wrong. Hey, listen, this is what's going on. I mean, some people on PC, they will try to get you to convince you to get a PC for the $700. I'm like, man, you're bugging. I'm not doing that. I don't want to go to PC. I don't like PC. But some of these guys, they will not let you just get the PlayStation 5 Pro in peace. They'll tell you every single reason why you don't need the PlayStation 5 Pro. Get this PC or just stay on your PlayStation 5 and wait for the next generation. Now, of course, me, $700, psh, I ain't got it. I ain't going to sit up here and act like I do. I don't. I ain't got it. Now, if somebody wants to be kind enough to donate a PlayStation 5 Pro to the Analog Circle podcast, man, I would be more than happy to take your contribution. But if you think I'm going to pay $700, I can't do it. However, though, I will say this. It was a developer. The developer's name. Now, let me give you his credentials. This is according to Dead Island 2 developer Andrew Mitchell. No relation. I wish I did know this brother, but Andrew Mitchell, who actually worked on Dead Island 2, which I actually played. Oh, shucks. Hold on. I'm going to get to this story in just a second, but I got to say this. Man, that game is really darn good. I'm sitting there playing this game. Now, this game was in development for 500 years. This game had been through so many different paces, so many different things. I said, man, ain't no way this game is coming out. I mean, first off, when it came out, I said, oh, man, that's a miracle that this game even made it out the gate. It came out the oven. And not only did it come out the oven, that joker actually is tasty. It's good. That joker is a real good dish. And I don't know if you knew it, but you can actually play a trial of the game on PlayStation 5. Right now, they got this huge sale going on over on PlayStation. I wish some of the games were a little cheaper. I ain't going to sit up here and act like I wouldn't have liked the extra 10 off for some of these games, but I'm going to buy a couple of them. And that's one of the games that I just feel like I got to buy that. That game is so good, so much fun. And graphically, that game looks really, really good. But let me get back to the story at hand with the developer, Andrew Mitchell. Now, those PC comparisons, because this is the thing. He actually made this game, of course, on PC, but also, like I was just telling you guys, on PlayStation 5. Now, if you're looking for a more legit reason, now this is the thing, of why the PlayStation 5 Pro is worth your money, then listen to this quote. This is a quote from Andrew Mitchell. Now, the person asked him, how does the PS5 Pro version stack with the maxed out PC game? Now, he said again, how does the PS5 Pro version stack with the maxed out PC game? Does the PS5 Pro version feature the highest graphics settings available on PC? Where he responded, and I quote, the PS5 Pro has the same visual settings as the high spec on PC. God darn. A PlayStation 5 Pro. Once again, quote, the PS5 Pro has the same visual settings as the high spec on PC. Now, he did say, because I got to tell the whole story, I can't sit up here and give half truths. He did continue to say, we do offer an ultra spec mode on PC, which pushes beyond that. I know. He says, however, when considering the upgrade options for Pro, we wanted to ensure that we didn't compromise the solid 60 frames per second. No, he said 60 frames rate target, which gives users the best game experience. End of quote. So what that says to me is it is a possibility that the game could have actually ran in ultra mode comparisons to the PC version, but instead of them doing that, they said, whoa. This 60 frames per second is very important. We can't compromise that. That is what the game is going to run at and give you the best experience possible. So instead of trying to get it to run in ultra mode, let's just keep it at 60 frames per second, and we'll just have it go in, as they like to say, hold on, where is it? Maxed out Pro version, the highest graphics setting. That's where we'll put it. The visual setting is the high spec on PC. So yeah, the PlayStation 5 Pro being a fraction of the cost of a PC that is running the game at max settings. You're able to get that in a $750 machine. And quite possibly, if you wouldn't mind running the game at 30 frames per second, it's a possibility. And he didn't say this because I don't want to act like this is true, but it seems like if he was ready to compromise the game running at 60 frames per second, he could have possibly ran it in ultra spec mode, compared, pardon me, to a PC. That's what the PlayStation 5 Pro is doing. And I do remember something that, what is his name? The architect behind PlayStation 5. I was just talking about him. Mark Cerny. He did say that it takes them roughly about 4 years to come up with these consoles. And I believe he said they started working on the Pro in 2020, which was very, very interesting. Well, it wasn't interesting. It was just part of the course. Again, I didn't think we needed a Pro this generation, but PlayStation said, look, we're trying to continue to keep moving and keeping things going forward, so we're going to make the Pro. But the performance of this thing is absolutely amazing for the price point. I mean, you're talking about running things maxed out settings compared to a PC. And you're getting that on a console. Again, he said the PS5 Pro has the same visual settings as the high spec on PC. God, dog, absolutely incredible. So if you didn't think the Pro was worth the money, now again, for me, $700, I don't have it. If I had it, yeah, I would buy that joke. I ain't gonna lie. If I had the money and the TV, because that's also another very, very important component. A lot of the guys that have it, that are getting the max, not the max settings, but that are being able to use the PlayStation 5 Pro to its max, getting all of the features out of it, they also have the TV to go with it. So just saying that. But if I had the money, I would definitely buy it. Because I would love to see those extra visuals, have those 60 frames per second on every single game, hardly any drops, that would be awesome. But for now, that is not a reality, but maybe in the future. But guys, let's go ahead and let's get into the next story that I got from Comic Book. Now, this is a continuation of Witcher 4 news. Now, game director Sebastian Kalimba and executive producer Gosia I always butcher these names. Mitrega is spelled M-I-T-R-E-G-A. Mitrega both shared the map size while being in attendance at the Friends Per Second podcast, where they said, and I quote, definitely more or less the same when it comes to the size. 90, 85, or 100%, end of quote. Now, the size of the Witcher 3's, end of quote. Now, the size of the Witcher 3's map. Now, they went on to further say the focus is on quality over quantity. Also, the article did mention that the Witcher 3, including all of the DLCs, was around 88 square miles, which to me seems like enough room for an open world game. So I did kind of butcher that, but again, they were basically saying with the 90, 85, or 100%, they were saying that is going to be the size of The Witcher 4, but it's going to be compared to The Witcher 3. Pretty much it's going to be about the same map size of The Witcher 3, and that's including all of the DLCs though. So again, that works out to about 88 square miles of virtual, world. So, I mean, again, that's a lot of room to cover. I think that's a pretty big size for a map. I'm sure some people were hoping for more because it is next generation. You want to get the map as big as possible, be able to do some extra things. But I do believe that once a map gets to a certain size, it becomes and this is just me, it becomes a little too much. I mean, I was playing Star Wars Outlaws, and that game, you can do missions on land, sea, and air. So, I mean, I'm doing missions in the sky, then I'm landing down, doing missions on the ground, then I got missions on the water. I'm like, man, this is dope as ever. I've never played a game where you can do all of this stuff in one game. I mean, Mass Effect, you could say that, but I don't think we ever went on water in Mass Effect. I don't think so. But it was just such an expansive world in Star Wars where when I was doing some of these side quests, I was like, man, this is just a lot. And I'm just ready to get on to the next game. So with Witcher 4, pretty much keeping with the same size, map size that is, as The Witcher 3, and them saying that it's more so about, let me find the quote here. They were pretty much saying it's about quality over quantity. So we know that CD Projekt Red is an amazing studio. They had a bit of a hiccup with Cyberpunk 2077. I don't really blame. I mean, of course, you got to blame them because they were in the driver's seat with that game. But the situation that they were in, that wasn't their fault. They tried to tell the guys over at WB they didn't think this was going to be a good idea. They pretty much told them, hey, man, last generation, you got to put it out. Put it out for last generation. I understand your complaints, but patch it and we're going to move on. And, I'm sure the CD Projekt Red, they knew it was a bad idea, but they worked at the game, made sure that they, did everything they could to get it up to snuff. They finally did that. They did that in amazing fashion, and they really gained back a lot of positivity with the fans, of them. So I don't think that their record is really blemished. It might have been partly blemished because of the way the game came out, but I think that, now they're in a really, really great space with the gamers. Gamers trust them again. And I do believe that they'll make sure that they're putting the quality over the quantity when it comes to this Witcher 4 game that's coming up very, very soon, hopefully, but we'll see. But let's get into the next story, which I actually got from VGC. Now, if you were wondering why Beyond, and this is a quick story because we don't have to go into a lot of the details because it's very, very simple. But if you were wondering why Beyond Good and Evil 2 is taking so long to release, it's because of conflict with the managers on the team. And this is according to Michael Ansel, who is, and his last name is spelled Ancel, who is the series creator. He feels like, man, these managers, 1 minute they want to go in this direction, the next minute they want to go in that direction. And he's saying that the egos of these guys keep getting in the way of this game actually being finished. In this game, this is another example like Dead Island 2, where it's been in development for a very, 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 very long time. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, man, this game has, matter of fact, we ain't even got to think about it. We can look it up. See how long this game has been in development. I want to say like 12 years this thing has been going. How long has Beyond Good and Evil 2 been in development?
According to TechRadar, 16 years since this upcoming action-adventure game was first announced in 2008, Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still kicking about.
16, you got darn. And I was what, 45, 35, 40? And I was 29. Oh, man. Wow, I was still in my 20s when this game was announced. Gee, wait, man, this game ain't never coming out. You talking about 16 years? Man, we ain't even got to talk about that. And that game looked promising. But that's what's going on. The managers are in there. They fighting. Their egos are in the way. And they want the game to be the way that they want it to be. Man, this game ain't. Man, this thing is going to be like that pirate game that they had come out, man. What was it, Skull and Bones? Let me see. How long was Skull and Bones in development?
11 years.
God!
Ubisoft's fabled Skull and Bones releases tomorrow. 11 years of development and a half dozen delays later.
Man, and that came out, what was this? Dated February 15th, 2024? Ain't no way, did that come out this year? What year did Skull and Bones release? February 13th, 2024. I had no idea. Yo, this year has been flying. So that game just released this shit. Wow, we day 11 years on that. Man, these jokers, I'm going to tell you, they can't get anything out the door in a decent time. I'm not going to say that. They did great with Star Wars Outlaws. They got that out in a timely fashion. We haven't seen Splinter Cell in a long time, but it is what it is. Golly, what time is it, man? It's 2:30 in the morning. We're about to wrap this up, man. Let's get into the next story, though. Golly, Ubisoft, 11 years with Skull and Bones and 16 with Beyond Good and Evil 2. That's just a record. Man, what was the score on Skull and Bones? I'm about to move on, but I got to see what this score is. What is the score on Skull and Bones?
According to Game Rant, on Metacritic, Skull and Bones has a user score of 3.1 out of 10 based on around 500 reviews.
Yeah!
Generally unfavorable rating.
Move this man!
All that time in the lab just to come up with those kind of... God dang. I feel bad. I feel bad for these guys. I'm just thinking if I work on something for 11 years and I'm finally hyped that it's out the door, we got it going, man, let's see what the people say. and they give it a daggone 3.1 or 64. Oh, man. That's got to be disheartening, man. I genuinely feel bad for these guys. But hey, 11 years, that's hard. That's hard to overcome. Which is why, again, Dead Island 2. Am I saying that game right? Let me look back on these notes. Is it Dead Island? Man, y'all know my memory is terrible, man. Let's see. Hold on. It is Dead Island 2. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's amazing that game came out as great as it did. My gosh. How long was that in development? Did I look that up? Let me see. How long was Dead Island 2 in development? It said it took over a decade. It was announced in 2014 and it released in April of 2023. So yeah, that's pretty much on par with what Skull and Bones did almost for the most part. And it came out to a good game though. I've been enjoying it so far. But yeah, let's go ahead though, guys. Let's get ready to get into the next story. I feel like I'm really, really being long-winded with y'all, even though I wanted y'all to stay with me for a little while, but I think I'm kind of on borrowed time now, so I don't want to outstay my welcome. But let me go ahead and move on into the next story. Oh, just on a side note though, real quick, I saw on Sam's Club's website that the PlayStation VR 2, it looks to be on sale until January 2nd, 2025. Now, I'm not sure if that date is for all retailers, but basically, if you're interested, it seems like you'll have until January 2nd, if you have a Sam's Club card, to pick up the PlayStation VR 2 for $350. The bundle, the Horizon bundle. That is just an amazing deal. And I do believe that Sony, like I said, when they saw those numbers going up, they said, we're going to ride this out for the rest of the year. No need to rock the boat. We're getting the most sales we've had since this thing is released. Let's keep it at $350 for the whole year. Well, not the whole year, but the holiday season. And we'll turn it back when January comes. So shout out to them for moving units. But let's get into the next story, though. And I got this story from TRG. So I found this article that brought up a few things pertaining to the PlayStation brand. Now, this took place during a shareholders Q&A where they said, quote, "We have also confirmed internally that the transition of users from PS4 to PS5 is trending well," end of quote. So it seems like they're doing better. I mean, it's trending in the right direction. Seems like adoption rates are slow, and they kind of have themselves to blame for that because they're not giving people a real reason to jump over to current generation because most games are still releasing on last generation. Until those big titles like Madden, 2K, FIFA come over to this generation and you can only get them over here, then these guys are going to continue to stay on last generation. I guarantee one of the biggest movers of this current generation hardware will be done courtesy of Grand Theft Auto 6. And that's not a stretch of the imagination. That will move units. So again, the transition is, it's going well, but I'm sure it could be going better. But they also confirmed, and I quote, they said, "We are in the latter half of the console cycle for the PlayStation 5, and the number of PS5 titles has been increasing," end of quote. So again, them saying that they're in the latter half of the console cycle, which is year 4. Usually by the 6th to 7th, well, lately it's been more so like the 7th year, we're going to see the next console. So we're pretty much, we're in that later half because That's 3 years left, not another 4. They're past the halfway mark. So yeah, they're definitely going into, pretty much the fourth quarter, as it were. It's like you're wrapping up the third, getting ready to get into the fourth. So yeah, that means that the PlayStation 6 is definitely being worked on. I think that Mark Cerny, and I don't want to misquote him, but I believe he said him and AMD are working on some kind of technology together, graphical technology. Now, I don't think that they're going to own it. I don't think Sony is going to own it. I don't know if AMD is going to own it, but in some kind of way, they're coming together to, make graphics better, make graphics great again. Man, darn, that graphics been great. This whole generation, they have been amazing. Ratchet and Clank and Horizon Forbidden West are 2 highlights. And I will even say, even though I didn't play the game, I wanted to play it. I'll say Senua's Saga also looks like a beautiful game as well, from what I can tell. But lastly though, they mentioned PC. I was just talking about PC a couple of minutes ago. And they said this. They said, quote, "In terms of losing users to PC, we have neither confirmed that any such trend is underway, nor do we see it as a major risk so far." So it seems like for them, their trajectory, or at least their reports, they're not seeing anything where the PC is actually being a threat to the PlayStation 5. And the threat meaning that people are going to jump off of PlayStation 5 and go to PC. They're not feeling like that's going to be a major risk. It doesn't seem like it's anything that's happening at the moment. So they're feeling pretty good about that as well. And I will say it did seem like, in certain parts of social media, and again, social media does not represent the world. It is truly a bubble, just a bubble, but when you go on there, you got all of these people that are talking about just get a PC. I'm going to PC. I'm getting rid of my Xbox. I don't need Xbox anymore. Go to PC. And it's like they're trying to have people do the same thing because they're doing it. I'm not going to PC. The only way I will go to PC is if there are no more console options. As long as there's a PlayStation, I would love to say as long as it's an Xbox, but that's not looking like that's going to be the case. But I'll say Nintendo, man, I don't know, man. Listen, I don't know about Nintendo. Them jokers be tripping sometime. I don't know. If they're doing the AAA stuff, like it's being rumored that they're doing, and they're going to be able to have games that are running in Unreal Engine 5 and the games are going to look great, then it's a possibility. But as long as, again, it's a console option, I'm going to go with the console. So, with that being said, man, again, PlayStation is not, they don't feel like they're being threatened by PC, and they're doing just fine. But, man, let me get ready to wrap this up, though. The next story, though, is coming from Comic Book, because I know y'all hear me yawning and everything. It's 2:42 in the morning. But Comic Book, it looks like due to, again, I got this from Comic Book, pardon me. But it looks like due to the Australian Classification Board, a new unannounced Terminator game being called Terminator 2D No Fate is been leaked. Now, outside of that, it was said that the game is in development. Now, these are the platforms it's going to be appearing on. It's going to be on PS5, PS4, Series X, Series S, pardon me, y'all, Xbox One, and Switch. So this Terminator game, once again, dipping back into last generation. This joke is even going to be on the Switch. I don't know how good this is going to look. I don't know. Again, it's a 2D Terminator game. It's been leaked. I don't know. Maybe since it's been leaked by mistake, maybe they'll show something on it very, very soon. Terminator games. It's the last Terminator game I've played. Man, I remember Terminator 2 came out on Sega Saturn. No, not the Saturn. Sega CD. God, dog, I don't even think I played that. I ain't played no darn Terminator games. What am I talking about? Let's move on, man. We'll see what happens with this. Maybe it's dope. Maybe it'll be like the Ninja Gaiden game that they showed off at the Game Awards. That was a highlight. Hold on, man. I gotta talk about the Game Awards, man. Cody Clark, my good brother. I gotta tell you, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get to your messages, man. I am really getting sleepy all of a sudden. I'm kind of fighting a little bit here, man. Man, you know what? Darn that. Nah, Cody, I can't do you like that, bro. I can't, man. Hold on. Before I get to the Game Awards and my thoughts on it, by the way, short answer, I loved it, man. I thought it was an 8 out of 10. That was a really, really good show, man. Cody, you're gonna have to pardon me, brother. I can read one of these, brother, that you sent me. And again, I really, really appreciate you sending me these emails, brother. It's really, really a highlight for me. I'm going to be able to read these, and for you to take the time out of your busy day to do this is greatly, greatly appreciated. So I just, want to say thank you for that. But let me go ahead and read your email here, brother. Now, the title of Cody's email is 400 plus developers at ZeniMax Online Studios have unionized. Oh, this is a good story. He says, we need more unions. They used to be a founding principle of Americans' kick butt pride and innovation. I used to be in a union. I used to be in I was with the Teamsters. I used to work at this place called Patent Construction, and they were a good union, man. They gave us a lot of good things. They definitely protected us. It was a union. It was Teamsters. I believe it was 311. I haven't been at the place in like almost 15 years, so my memory is a little shot with it, but I think it was 311. But let me continue with your email here, Cody. He says, nowadays, megacorp CEOs and clueless flat earth anti-vax Joe Rogan fans all think unions are organized crime. New York NYC Teamsters. It makes my brain hurt. Yeah, no, you know what? Interesting thing, Cody. I'm up in Buffalo so much, brother. I'm up there a lot. Like almost every week, pretty much. I'm in Buffalo. I've been up there, Cody, and over the last year, it's been definitely three different companies up there, all grocery based companies. We're talking about Tops was one of them in Buffalo, and a couple of other ones, but they were on strike or have been on strike. I was just at this place. What was it? Man, I don't even know if I'm supposed to be saying names. I'll just leave their name out of it. But they were on strike as well. But all of these places are in upstate New York. And they are asking for better wages. One place, they weren't even asking for more money, Cody. They had it so their medical, it was a medical situation. They wanted them to pay $9,000 before their medical benefits would kick in. You had to rack up $9,000 first before any of your medical would kick. I said, that is nuts. $9,000. What the frick you need doggone insurance for at that moment? If your copay is $9,000 and they'll pick it up from there, that is just absolute ridiculousness. So that's what they were striking for. The other people, they wanted a better wage. They were way below where other companies were paying for them to pretty much do the jobs that they were doing. But I digress, Cody. But I feel you on this, man. Let me continue. He says unions won't fix the game industry, but it will protect a number of vulnerable people. Absolutely. He says, I would rather play a single or double A game that aims for the stars and just gets to the moon than a generic Unreal. This brother don't like Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine tick every option box, poorly optimized, super $600 million needs to sell 15 million copies to be outsourced to India and Q&A outsourced to Brazil. Meanwhile, the company still lays off 900 plus domestic U.S. devs, and the executives still get a nice multi-million buck bonus. Ah, man. I tell you, Cody, that's the fear right there, brother. It really is. Because I'm thinking of it from the standpoint, I know these corporations, man, they just be squeezing and freaking squeezing all the doggone time. Everybody is squeezing. Here in Baltimore, check this out, Cody. In Baltimore, we got this thing they're trying to pass where they're trying to up our water bill again. First, here in Baltimore, it was a couple of years ago, we used to pay our water bill every 3 months, every quarter, we would pay the water bill. But there's so many corrupt officials, they should be unofficial officials, in office where they're stealing so much money, Cody. They're so corrupt. We've been trying to get them out of there, and people keep voting them in. I don't know what the heck people are doing, voting in these criminals, because that's what they are. They vote them in and they steal the money, Cody, every single time, brother. You know, not just me, but everybody in the city, we get this ballot. They talk about putting air conditions in the schools. The governor sent millions of dollars down here in Baltimore City to get the doggone air conditions for the school. We looking up. I mean, I don't have kids, Cody, so, I mean, I'm not keeping tabs on it like that. But we look up and they asking for money again. People ask, well, what happened to the air conditions that were supposed to be in there? Don't nobody want to answer that. They ain't got no answer. So it's just, man, they keep squeezing and trying to get as much money out of you as possible. And now that because the city isn't fully populated, they need more people in the city to pay taxes. They're trying to find other ways to get the money. Now they're trying to raise the water bill up again, and trying to make it like a standard price every month, where if it's just you and somebody else, then why the world should I be paying $250 and it's only two people using the water? It's not a family. It's stuff is all a racket, man. It's all a money grab, bro. So I feel you when you talk about these corporations just squeezing and, you know, laying people off. But the other thing, getting back to the gaming side of this, laying off those many people, man, I just think about how much talent is being thrown to the wolves, just thrown away. You know, the years upon years of talent, these guys that really have really honed in on their craft and they're great at their, you know, their skill set. They know what they're talking about and what they're doing. Those people are no longer going to be around if this continues, that they keep on outsourcing, getting cheaper labor, you know, to do the work and getting rid of the other people. Now, granted, I'm not saying it from the standpoint that these other brothers and sisters are less talented. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that in that group of 900 people being laid off, you're going to lose a lot of talent. No matter how you slice it or dice it, somebody in that mix or a certain amount of people in that mix are going to make up so many years of experience, that they've had in the gaming industry. A lot of talent could be lost, but I digress, Cody. Let me continue with your email here, good brother. I feel like I'm being long-winded, and pardon me if I am, guys. But he says, what developer am I talking about? All of them. You ain't lying there. He said, that got me heated. LOL. Always, almost. Oh, he said, anyways, almost the end of the year. Keep safe. Keep warm. Cody. Shout out to you, good brother. I really appreciate you, Cody. Thank you, man. I want to read these other ones, but I don't want to doze off. You know what? Darn that. I'm going to get one more out here, Cody. Shugs, man. I can't do you like that, brother. Let me get, this is the last one, Cody. The title of this one is, what the frick is optical media? He said, man, you tell me what the heck is it, Cody? He says, getting closer and closer to the day of there being no method for us old school pro media junkies to even use our physical media. I'm still looking for a decent VCR to test and find a way for it to output to a flat screen TV so I can watch the 99 special edit Star Wars that George didn't have time to ruin. Let me see what you sent me a link. Man, this is crazy. It says LG discontinues Blu-ray players. It says LG has discontinued all Blu-ray players, including the UBK80 and UBK90 UHD Blu-ray players, with remaining units only available while stocks last. Darn. He says the announcement echoes similar moves from Oppo in 2018 and Samsung in 2019, when both companies excited the optical disc player market. LG has now officially discontinued its Blu-ray and UHD Blu-ray players, as reflected on LG's online portals and confirmed by multiple sources to Flat Panels HD. Are you kidding? So they're getting out of the market. What, Samsung is already out of the market? Back in 2019? Dang. Man, Cody, this is sad, brother. So, pretty much Blu-ray disc players, DVD players are going to pretty much go away. Physical media is really, really dying fast. Man, this is just not good. I'm not trying to ever be that person that's talking like, oh man, hit the red panic button. Oh man, we in trouble. But man, we're kind of in trouble a little bit. I mean, daggone, you can't go out and just get a Blu-ray player just openly. You can't just get a DVD player off of the shelf. Man, they're making it so hard to own your stuff. I mean, this is a play that's been going on for a while, man. We almost 2 hours in. It's like I get tired, Cody, and I read these emails. It kind of gets me energized a little bit, brother. I gotta say, man, this has been a play that's been in the works for a long time. You guys remember you would be able to buy certain programs flat out. You bought the program one time and that was it. All of a sudden they started this membership situation where if you want to continue to use Photoshop or whatever the program is, you got to pay a monthly fee, which means you don't own it. And then I was looking at this show, Cody, where the woman is some kind of printer. I don't know who the manufacturer is when it comes to this specific printer, but this is a newer printer that's out there, and you have to subscribe to the printer's ink service. Now, how this works is if you don't pay your monthly bill, because this is the thing, the woman set it up, and she had actually signed up for the service. Now, she did it for a little while and she canceled it. She got tired of it. Soon as she canceled it, she went to go print out some papers, and y'all already know where this is going. The printer wouldn't print the papers. It kept giving her a message to call customer service. The printer is not printing, your papers. Pretty much she called customer service, asked them what was going on. They said, well, you canceled your subscription, so you can't use the printer until you resubscribe to the ink subscription that we have for our for our printer. I think it was Canon, if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to put a black eye on Canon, but it could have been them. Not saying it was. It was one of those manufacturers, a major one, where she was not able to use her printer unless she was signed up for their service. Now, how freaking crazy is that? That you go out there, spend all of this money on a printer, thinking that you can use this thing whenever you want to. But then when you set it up, they make it so you can't do anything unless you're subscribed to a service that you got to pay for every single month. Game Pass ain't no different. Same thing. Didn't they take away the market that actually printed up the discs or something like that? They took that out of the equation. So those guys aren't even working. Game Pass is doing it. PSN is doing it. Nintendo, they're doing it because their games are being sold digitally as well. It's just like, man, even when it comes to your vehicles, man, I heard in BMWs and Benzes, you got to pay for heated seats. You got to be on a payment plan every month to get heated seats in a car that you paid your money for. You don't even own the heated seats unless you paying for it. In a vehicle that costs $65,000, $70,000. You don't pay for the heated seats. You can't even turn them on. You don't pay for that auto start where you can hit the button and your car will start. Some of those are even on a subscription plan where you can't even start your car up in the house without paying for it. This stuff is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, Cody, when you hit me with this, they're no longer selling Blu-ray players. They're trying to make it so we don't own a darn thing. A doggone thing. That's why owning property is important. Even if you don't want to live in it and you just want to rent it out, own property. Own your home. Get as much property and land as you can. Get something, because rent keeps going up. These prices are getting outrageous. These subscription services are getting out of hand. They're trying to put us all in a position where we can't own anything. I mean, you look at what's going on with BlackRock. These guys buying up all of the... Anyway, man, I ain't going to get into all of that. This ain't even what we supposed to be talking about. But man, Cody, you just hit a chord with me with this one, brother. I just really, really appreciate it. I'm a move on. But again, I salute you, Cody. Thank you, brother. All right, man, we are at the final doggone story of the week, and I got this one from WCCF Tech. So in more rumors.
Rumor has it is something that only I know.
YouTuber, The Games Joint, that's his name, The Games Joint, is saying one of his anonymous sources have told him that Square Enix is having a February showcase to show off their 2025 roadmap. And inside this alleged showcase, he's saying Kingdom Hearts 4 will be shown. Will it happen? Only time will tell. Well, guys, that is the end of the gaming news this week. Kingdom Hearts 4 being shown in February, man, I hope so. I would love to see what their roadmap is. I mean, Square Enix, it'd be dope. But we'll see, though. February is coming up very, very, very soon. But with that being said, guys, man, I got to ask you guys a question. We were here way longer than I was anticipating, though. But it's the last show of the year. Maybe you can just break this up and, just listen to it over the course of a week or so. But the question that I have for you guys, and I know you saw it already, but let's go over it officially. What is one of your favorite Christmas memories? Man, I got to tell you, man, I think I've said this story a few times. Maybe I haven't said this one because I'm asking for, one of your favorite Christmas memories. I would say for me, and this is a bit sentimental. It ain't, don't get sad over it because it's fine. It's a great memory. But I will say for me, I was 18 years old. My parents had let me know, once you turn 18, Christmas is cut. I was in my last year of high school. And I'll tell you, that was the year. Oh man, that was the year my best, man, these guys aren't even friends. These are my brothers, Mark and Renard. Man, shout out to those good bro. Man, I love those jokers so much, man. Me and Renard have been knowing each other since the 3rd grade. That's my brother right there. I remember they had a PlayStation. Man, let me tell you something. These brothers got every single game that was available on that joint. Resident Evil, Battle Arena to Shinden, Tekken. I don't know if they had Battle Arena. I know they had Tekken, Resident Evil, Game Day. I mean, they had all kinds of stuff. So I was like, man, this thing is absolutely amazing. I really, really want this PlayStation so bad. Well, before they even got it, right, I was looking at it in game magazines first. I wanted it, got a Game Fan magazine. I was in Security Square Mall in the arcade looking at Tekken. It was brand new at that time. Went over to Electronic Boutique. They had, a couple of magazines, a lot of magazines actually. And I saw Tekken was in that magazine. I said, look, this is the closest I'm going to get to this thing, to this game. I'm going to be looking at these pages for the rest of the week, just dreaming about this game. And when I finally read the article, I saw it was releasing on PlayStation. I said, oh my goodness. So I really, really wanted the PlayStation at that time. And, again, like I said, getting back on track, my parents told me, this is the 18th year, son, this is, this is pretty much going to be it. So I was like, okay, they asked me what I wanted. I told him, the PlayStation, and I woke up Christmas morning, man. I was so excited, man. I could never sleep during Christmas Eve. It seemed like Christmas Eve lasted 55 hours. Like that joker was made up of 3 days worth of waiting. But I was waiting. I got up. I could only get up at 6 o'clock. That was the rule. Get up at 6 a.m. and you can, start opening up your gifts. I got down there and I'm looking at the tree. I'm looking around the tree. I'm trying to see if I can spot the box. I can't find the box. So I'm like, oh man, I don't know. So I start opening up some of the gifts. And my grandmother, oh man, I miss her so much too. She had got me a VCR, which was dope. I had a VCR, which was so cool. I was grateful for it. I was happy, but you know how it is, man. You want that one gift. That one gift means everything. If you didn't get anything else, if you got that one gift that you wanted all year long, it didn't matter what else you got. It was all about that one gift. So I was grateful for the VCR. I think I got, a couple of, I never got clothes. I was not asking for clothes. Remote control cars and video games. That was pretty much it. I forgot what else I got, but I will say I went upstairs after I felt defeated. I was like, oh man, it is nothing down here. I'm not nothing. I didn't mean it like that. I take that back. I ain't say it was nothing down there. I was just like, I didn't get, what I really wanted. And I thanked my grandmother. I thanked her. But I was really, man, I was a butthole, man. I should have been way more grateful, but I was sad. Man. I was like, oh man. So I walked up the steps and my mother was up there. She was like, hey, Merry Christmas, Kiaun. My dad, he was still sleeping. And I was like, Merry Christmas, Mom, She was like, man, what happened? Did you look under the tree? Did you get all of your stuff? Because I guess she could see all of the wrapping and stuff was open. I was like, I got everything. I was like, thank you very much. I appreciate it, Mom, She was like, well, you missing one. And the thing was, it wasn't any kind of situation where she was purposely hiding it. It wasn't like it was a Christmas Story situation where it was like, man, I had to go to a whole nother side of the tree or nothing like that. She was like, simply like, why didn't you open that one right there? I did not see it. It was on the left side of the tree, but it was more so towards the back. It wasn't like all the way in the back. I should have been able to have seen it, but I was so fixated on stuff in the front, I didn't really go over to the side because it was like the main gift that I was looking for. I thought it was going to be front and center. And I went over to the side and she didn't even wrap it. That's how messed up my vision was. I was so fixated on trying to find it that I'm up here ripping off the paper of all of these other gifts. I didn't even see the joker right there on the side. I walked over there on the side. I mean, I'm feeling bad. I'm feeling hurt, but I'm feeling like it might be a little bit of hope, but I'm like, I kind of think the hope is dashed. Walked over there to the side and looked, and there was the doggone PlayStation. Man, I ran up those steps. Golly, I gave my mother the biggest hug. I think I might have halfway lifted her off of her feet. I was so, man, I don't even know why I'm getting emotional about this, man. Golly, hold on. Give me a second, y'all. Man. Oh, man. It was such an amazing moment for me. I mean, knowing that this was going to be my last Christmas, I mean, not with my parents, of course. We had a couple more. But, where it wasn't going to be the same. I wasn't going to be getting like 12, 13, 15 different things. It was going to be very limited, things that I was going to be getting. Plus, I was working at that time, but they put me out on a high note. That was the thing. They got me out of all of the Christmases I had with my parents, and they both passed away by the time I was 30. They were both gone. Mom was gone when I was 29, and my dad, he passed away when I was 30. I know I talked about it earlier. I got my age wrong, but yeah, I was 29 when mom was gone, 30 when dad passed. So, it was like, just them really wanting to send me out, one last time, on such a high note. Cause I only had one bad Christmas out of all of the Christmases I ever had. I only had one bad one, and it was only bad because I didn't get the Sega CD. The Sega CD was hot back then. We talking about Sewer Shark. Oh my gosh, man. The boxing game joint was amazing. And my mother and father told me, you're not getting that. It's not going to happen. But they had told me that before, so I thought I was going to get it. But again, I'm just saying it to say I was very, very extremely blessed as a kid and a young adult, 18 years old, to have two loving parents, two very, very loving parents. They cared enough to do everything in their power to get me the things that I wanted, that, the things my brother and sister wanted as well. They got their items that they wanted too. And I was just very, very grateful. My dad, he woke up, he was, laughing. It was like, oh man, you're so excited. I'm like, man, thanks, Dad. I really, really appreciate it. And I'll tell you, the thing that was interesting about my grandmother, we used to call her mother, giving me the VCR. This was something I used to do with my friends, Mark and Renard. We all used to do the same thing. I would take, on the PlayStation, you had the red, white, and yellow composite cables. I found this out from a buddy of mine named Joey in Walden Circle. I haven't seen him in forever. But you could take those cables and you could hook them up to the VCR and you could actually record your gameplay onto a VHS tape. And me, Mark, and Renard, we would do that all the time. It was a project we had where we actually recorded Tekken video footage and NBA shootout video footage for a project about technology. I think we were in 10th grade at that time. No, we couldn't have been in 10th. We had to be in the last year of school at that time because I was 18. Or was I 17? It came out in 95, 79, 89, 91, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was gonna be 18. I was 17 when I got it. January coming up, I was gonna be 18. So yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was it. That's what it was. I got it when I was 17, but I was turning 18 in January. So yeah, boom. So yeah, that's what happened. We would just take video footage and, put it on a VHS. This is way before YouTube or anything like that. We were streaming gameplay back in 97. Around like 96, 97, man, we were streaming video footage. But any of y'all do that back in the day? Record your gameplay to a VHS tape and just watch it back. Ah, man, that was something. But that was one of my favorite memories. Man, I do miss my parents though. I miss them dearly. Being 45, it would have been very, very amazing to have them around. They got married on Christmas, way, way before I was born. But yeah, it's just a great it's a great story for me though, because Just having parents that loved me that much to get me the thing that I wanted the most, like one more ride, one last time, it really meant a lot. But, sorry for the long-windedness. I apologize, for that, but I would absolutely love to hear some of your favorite Christmas memories. If you do want to be a part of the conversation, you can do it two different ways. You can either call in at 443-380-0281 and let your voice be heard, or you can email the show. And the email address is theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com. I want to let you guys know I won't, again, see you guys until 2025, but I truly, truly appreciate you guys for being here, always showing support, telling people about the Analog Circle podcast, and, just emailing the show. It's always encouraging to get those, shout out to Cody Clark and shout out to Crimson Phoenix. Shout out to you, brother. I greatly, greatly appreciate you guys. Shout out to Glove Box. Shout out to Mike J. Shout out to all of you guys. It's just greatly, greatly appreciated. So, thank y'all again. Really appreciate y'all. Really means a lot, man. But listen, man, we will not be back at it this week. It is Monday. Tomorrow is Christmas Eve. I still got some things to do that I got to finish up. Man, this has probably been the longest episode that I've recorded. I didn't even really get into the Game Awards like I wanted to. But we had to save that, for the top of the year, for 2025. I don't want to come on here and say, oh, man, we're going to be bigger and better next year. What we're going to do is we're going to try to continue to stay consistent, try to get more people on, just try to keep the train going, man, in the best way possible. Hopefully you guys will go over, and again, if you wouldn't mind, maybe leave a review of the show on Apple Podcasts or something like that. But also, oh man, I would be remiss talking about the group. Brother Lawrence Jones as well. Brother, I appreciate you very, very much. I know I still got to get you on the podcast, brother. I haven't forgotten. I wanted to say it in public that I have to still get you on the podcast to get your thoughts about the PlayStation 5. So, Mr. Lawrence Jones, again, I want to shout you out, brother. Thank you so much for everything that you do inside of the group, the Facebook group. It is greatly, greatly appreciated, my brother. So with that being said, guys, until, 2025, when we do it again, until then, you guys take care, enjoy your family, enjoy gaming, enjoy if you celebrate, enjoy the holidays, enjoy your time off of work, and truly, hug your family members. Tell them that you love them. With that being said, you guys take care. Be safe out there. And remember, it is not about the consoles. It is about the games. Bye-bye.